This almost seems too sciencey though.
Well, it's cooking science.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah, we just watched cooking how to cook fried chicken. Well, I was watching it, and
Yeah, I was casually gazing at it while he was finishing setting up.
nice beard.
Thanks.
You
man.
going for the grizzly?
I'm going for the wait until I actually care.
You need, you need like you need like a what is it called? A flannel.
Yeah.
And a bear
and a big axe.
And a big bear sidekick. Roam around the wilderness with.
Just have like a little bit of honey in my pocket, just so it doesn't get too distracted or run away.
Thanks for coming back, man.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me back.
I was trying to get you back for a little bit. I'm glad you're still in country.
It's almost about to not be true.
I was when I was watching Trump go out to greet Kim Jong-il. I almost expected to see you in the background, helping him along,
photobombing,
just dabbing in the back.
Yeah.
Hey. I thought you were gonna be his interpreter.
Hey, listen to me play something stupid on the guitar.
Asked you back because there was a lot left.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we just like skimmed the surface of just your Asian trip. We only did one hemisphere of your life.
Yeah.
The Eastern Hemisphere.
Sure.
The Great East.
Well, everybody's got a few hemispheres. Yeah. We should dive into your brain. I'm sure you do that all the time.
Mine's multi-crossed.
Oh yeah.
On many levels. From a tumor.
You need like a big complicated map made by a doctor.
Yeah, I'm like John Travolta in Phenomenon. I have a tumor that's like a hand that's wrapped in the back. I'm redesigning every business's parking lot to be more efficient.
Oh yeah,
in parking.
Yeah. Like super intelligent and focused on something that may not actually matter.
Yeah, I'm moving shit. I'm moving forks with my telekinesis. So you wanted to do gaming, or were you gonna say something?
No, I was just asking how you been.
You know? Oh yeah, how you been?
Yeah,
Let's
I've been good.
Casual talk first. How have you been? What have you been up to?
Just same old shit. Teaching
the Asians.
Teaching the Asians how to say cat.
I fixed the mic so you don't have to be right up on it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, hey.
And you can adjust the.
Does it have a compressor on it now?
I don't. I guess
maybe I can explain to you what that is.
Yeah, I could have used your help actually.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to clear the vocals up, but it was just like a week of trial and error.
You know, most of it. I mean, I've listened to your podcast before. I mean,
most of it
to me, it sounds fine.
Yeah, most of it's terrible.
You're
being kind.
Pretty it up. No. I mean, like, I've always been that way though. Like, my dad is a super like techie dude or whatever.
Right.
You always come home with like the new TV or whatever. He's like, look how much clearer that is. And then I'm just like, yeah, but I don't care.
It's color. Look at the color.
Yeah, like I'd have to sit there for a minute and like A/B and be like, all right, yeah, technically you are right. Like it is clearer. But I'm much more the kind of guy who just wants to watch the product. So I mean,
come home from school, you want to watch your Transformers, your G.I. Joe, your
I'm not
Gem,
looking at the pixels per inch
MASH.
or whatever. Like I don't. I'm way more like, is something fun happening on the
What did your dad do?
He's a doctor.
Oh, he's a doctor.
Pediatrician, yeah.
Oh, fucking
mom and dad.
Fancy. You're a rich boy.
But he was always into the tech stuff, and I specifically remember like having the old TV set in my room, because I just didn't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just can I watch the channel?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Like, I used to have a TV that was like this big. And like this, like a 13-inch box TV, and it was up on a dresser. It wasn't even fucking good. It was just terrible. And you just get the squiggly lines for porn.
Oh yeah,
for the Cinemax.
Well, that was part of the journey.
Hot at night or whatever.
You had to earn it.
You had to earn it. Is that a girl or a dude with long hair?
I don't know. But I'm still hard.
Either way, he's got a great ass.
I'll ask the priest tomorrow if that's okay. And then he'll do something that. Never mind. That's a long tangent.
There's that joke. Why do choir boys have a part right in the middle? You're a good boy.
Oh yeah. I would like to say that that's not appropriate joke, but I mean they just
It's my
way
show.
over the line. No, I'm just saying like, oh, let's be
What,
fair
in
to
general
the priests.
society?
Like I can't say anymore. Like let's be fair to the priests. It's like
It's like 1,000
you never know.
priests raped.
You never
like,
know.
There's like 100 priest rapes that raped like 1,000 kids right
It's
in
like
Pennsylvania.
2.5 degrees of separation between whether or not you did it or helped cover it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I like the Bill. You ever see Bill Burr? He's on a morning show chat talking about his show F is for Family. That's on.
Oh,
I think it's
yeah,
on Netflix.
I think I've seen like 5 minutes of that show or whatever, but
Yeah. Well, he's like the host is like telling him, asking him, do you think you went too far, with the Catholic Church? And he's like, do I think I went too far? Do you think they went too far?
Right. Is that even a question?
Yeah.
Like,
what do you mean? About? What are you talking about? He's like, you think I went too far? You would think they went too far?
Yeah.
They're like he's
I mean, it sounds like a kindergarten argument. Like they started it, but like no, it's like.
He's like, they're like trainers at SeaWorld. They just moved the orca that killed somebody over to a different SeaWorld.
Oh man.
But I thought it was just funny. He just caught her off guard, and she was just like backpedaling back all the way back to, all right, let's change to another subject.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for you to actually be smart about that.
Yeah, that whole sanctimonious. I mean, when I was a kid, this is like the 80s too. The evangelists were big, and they were like, Dungeons and Dragons is creating Satanism, and heavy metal is creating all that shit. There's always with every generation, there's always that group of
but I would want to guess if there was a certain transition point where like I guess I don't know, the 50s, we'll just say there was a hell of a lot less entertainment options, right?
Yeah.
And the majority of people's time was spent like in the real world.
Yeah.
And if you saw something that was like a Satanist sort of thing, you would just very easily be able to parse like this is this and that's that.
It's comic books.
But now it's like the entertainment is all day, every day.
Yeah.
And you probably spend more time in entertainment than you do in the real world.
Oh,
so maybe there is some sort of like programming truth there.
That's going right to VR is going there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Did you see that episode of Black Mirror?
No.
Oh my god. Do you watch Black Mirror?
When there's a good one, I'll like because they're not all good. Just like Twilight Zone, they're not all, unless they're black and white. All the black and whites, just because the novelty's good.
Yeah, well, that's that. But the one with VR in it, they just released 3 new episodes on Netflix. Yeah, that Black Mirror episode. They just released.
Is it
3 new ones.
With the guy from the Avengers?
Maybe.
And he's making out with the other guy.
Yeah.
In the VR. Yeah. Who's a girl.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, it's the point of whether or not you like the episode. It's just that the concept that VR will be better than reality.
Yeah.
And
that's
what
inevitable.
Kind of a shit show is that going to start?
That's going to be a lot of empty streets.
Yeah. And just the way we think about reality.
Right.
I was just this will tie into
whether or not we are in a VR.
This will tie into
or whether or not we are in a
well, or just
that hypothesis.
The thing I'm trying to get to is like it's almost to a point where you're expecting the augmented reality on a regular basis, and if you don't have it for some reason, you feel like you're being duped. So like I did where
the real world is more unreal than the unreal world.
And maybe that's part of like our privilege or expectations now.
Right.
Is that we're looking at this augmented reality. And people have been talking about this for a while, but I think it's going to get even more extreme and subtle.
Yeah.
Like I was at a game audio meeting yesterday.
Right.
And one of the guys asked a question, how do you hear compression? So it's the thing I was mentioning at the beginning about the microphones.
My terrible audio mixing skills.
Well, but
this is the best.
This is
the best I've gotten so far.
But this is
where I don't have to be right up on the fucking mic.
Well, sure, but this is the point I'm getting to. When I listen to your podcast, I'm just like, I don't really hear any audio issues.
Right.
And then this guy is
like,
you're
tone deaf.
Maybe. I did play a lot of rock and roll music for a long time, or I might have just always sucked and never known it.
Speaker was just like right here, right against your head.
Every night when I go to sleep.
No earplugs. You're like Lemmy at this point.
But he's like, how do you hear compression? And it's such a subtle thing that like we were just kind of saying like you have to listen for it specifically, and how it changes the quality of the audio, or you just
Right.
wouldn't even really notice.
Right.
But are we going to get to a point where it's just like everybody in the world is going to be like, well, there's something that doesn't sound right about
Right.
that, but that is not a sound from the real world.
Yeah.
It is so processed, and you're expecting that sound that now when you're in reality, it's like,
Does it really? Yeah.
which one is real? Like,
Right.
how is that supposed to sound?
What is real?
Obviously,
Yeah.
it's supposed to sound the way it is in the real world, but we've been processing and editing
Right.
and photoshopping. It's going to be everywhere.
I mean,
everywhere.
Will you ever get bored of it? Because sometimes you get bored of games, like
too much of a drug,
or you're in a game where you're omnipotent and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, like a god mode.
Yeah, and there's this thing where if you become God, you'll be so bored that you don't want to be God anymore.
Yeah, there's no challenge.
There's no challenge. Everything. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I shied away from cheat codes when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Not that
up, down, left, right, left,
right.
A,
Not
B,
that
A,
you
B,
can't still have
start.
some fun, or
Right.
maybe learn about how to approach the game in God
Yeah.
mode, but dude, that's not what the game was.
Right.
That's not how it was designed,
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be jumping on top of spikes and still living. Like, that's not the purpose.
I think people would start out at God mode.
And
then they would be just so bored they would be like, all right, let's see how far I can push this low to the point where my life is at. Then you'd get the life risk junkies where they want to be in a game where their life is literally at risk. The roller coaster junkies. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
those
West
guys that
the
jump
West
off
world
of buildings or whatever.
Yeah. The Matrix guy. Yeah, the guys that hang off of buildings.
Yeah, hang off of buildings, or there was that
jump
movie
across
with the base jumping.
Base jumping.
Those kinds of guys.
Yeah.
Hey, I think there's a little bit of that in me. I mean, I'm not like base jumping, but like traveling around the world and picking career choices that might be a little bit outside of my.
Do you think they would be able to make it so real that you would actually go into like a cardiac, or like your heart?
Yeah, I think they could trick you.
Trick your heart into.
Well, because they're already with the VR.
Just
people get sickness.
The point where you're so. I mean, because people do without any, even healthy people, they get stressed out enough. They'll go into a cardiac and they'll pass out. Not necessarily a cardiac, but they will get so blood rushed that they will pass out.
Well, because you're
stressing out so much. They pass out.
Your defense mechanism, right?
It's too much fight or flight.
Right. Like a certain amount of it is healthy just to signal to you that something bad is happening, or you're being hurt or stressed out. But constantly all the time is not how your body was designed.
Yeah, you start sweating, everything like that. You pass out. I wonder if they would get. Yeah, they would probably. I mean, get to that point. I mean, but if something touches you, though, I mean, how would you? Unless you have the complete suit with the thing.
Yeah, I don't know how they would do it, but I'm sure they're figuring it out.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's like 10 years away from like. Now video games smell things. It's like, oh wow, all right.
Well, they have the body thing that you can show your body and stuff like that. They can mimic your movements and body. But my thing about the VR is the actual physical. I mean, you could be visually and audio, but that's only 2 senses out of what is like 5 senses, right? And the 6th sense.
Yeah.
Where you're seeing dead people. But yeah, that's only.
Right.
That's only 2 senses.
That's very immersive, though. Have you tried it?
No, I haven't.
It's
Jimmy J's been offering to bring it over and have me test it. I've seen like YouTube videos of people.
I did it at my friend Dan's house, and with the games that were functioning correctly, it's very immersive.
Right.
And we're at the beginning of it.
Right. Oh yeah.
Another 10 years,
God
knows what they're gonna make you feel like you're doing.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, they had the ones at the mall, but they were so
wonky.
They were very a bit DOS.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Everything was very cubed. It was the graphics were
you could see the pixels.
Were like terrible. Yeah, they were very cube. It was like that was it. But then when I started seeing Oculus come out, I was just like, all right, this is something different.
Yeah, I forget which system my friend has, but I mean, very convincing.
Yeah,
for the stuff that I've done.
I started seeing that, people doing the roller coaster and the, haunted houses and stuff.
I remember the first game.
Grandma's crying and peeing themselves.
It looked like this big Falcor looking thing. You remember?
Falcor.
You remember Falcor from that Branding story?
Yeah.
So you're just like this
part 1 and part 2
guy walking around, and you're following around this Falcor thing.
Right.
And it whizzes by your face, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
And it looks great,
Right.
You're not seeing pixelated nonsense. You're seeing like and you could hear it,
right.
like the sound is being panned like around your head and all that kind of crap.
That's the most impressive thing is the detail.
Yeah, the detail, the possibility, just the possibilities of immersion. I think I was hearing about they're coming out with like VR chat rooms.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine like
I've been
arguing AOL.
I've been arguing the education.
Yeah, we talked about that the last time.
That's inevitable that somebody's gonna because you don't need graphics. You don't need graphics on that.
Right, you just need like a 3D camera.
You just need a 3D camera. That's it.
And you're literally in a classroom.
Right. That's inevitable.
And that will be another. Well, like, what if they start doing that processing crap that I said in those VR chat? I mean, that's probably you set up an avatar instead of being your real face. You know what I mean? Like
that's what I mean. I was just about to say. Well, how are they gonna? Because if you got a camera, you got that big fucking thing in front of your face.
Yeah.
Are they gonna? You're gonna take a picture first and then impose that in front of that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess they could do a lot of guess calculations on all that kind of stuff and like force the rendering.
Are you gonna talk? You're gonna be talking like,
well,
like a fucking like South Park where they have like David Hasselhoff. Or it's just his face, your face, and just the chins going with the lines, and they're just going up and down.
I bet they would do that on purpose as like a funny filter,
It's just for the Canadians.
Yeah. But
it's just your whole head's just going up.
I would imagine at this point it wouldn't take too much to just pick an avatar thing and it follows your body motions. And that's what they do in movies, right?
Right.
Except
but how do you? Are you?
We're all going to be able to access and use it.
Are you going to be in a See, this is the transfer of more than two senses. So because you said like walk around, but you're going to be just walking around in your living room, knocking over your shit.
Yeah.
So that's what I think the next step is going to be beyond the two senses. After you get to a point of pixelation or rendering or whatever
you don't
graphics,
have to think about it anymore.
You don't have to. You don't think whether
it's good enough.
It's good enough. It's going to be like we're in this room.
Right.
Everything's going to be so detailed.
Right.
After that, they're going to be like, all right, what's next? All right. Well, we're only doing two senses.
I think they have like sensor boards and stuff.
Right.
They just might not be as common as the video and the audio.
Right. I want to get to it like a holodeck situation. So this is what I'm saying. You say like walk around. I'm picturing like there's going to be the basement is no longer going to be like the rec family room for everybody where there's a pool table. It's just going to be just an open room where everybody's just having VR
like
walking around.
Holodeck, right? And the way it wouldn't feel like it's in a room anymore is because the ground would actually like be treadmill-y. And so it would feel like you're actually walking forward, and then the screen is just changing the picture based on where it thinks you're about to walk to.
Yeah. And then Moriarty becomes sentient and tries to take over the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Because Data fucked up and tried to get a program to be smarter than his deductive skills.
Episode?
Yes, it was. I love the Next Generation. So you have that stuff. I think it's something that's intriguing that I always like is the glasses that integrate both reality and VR. You ever see that? You ever see the I'm sure you.
It's almost like an augmented reality glasses.
It's more like a combination of the two. You know the Pokemon game, right?
Right.
Where you have the phone.
Yeah.
And
that's augmented reality.
That's augmented. Exactly. Right. Well, they have what's in the future, not in the future, but I've seen commercials or GoFundMe or Kickstarters or whatnot, where they have the glasses where you put the glasses on in reality, and what reality is becomes more interesting because there's a monster lurking around a building
Right,
going
yeah.
like this, and you pretend like you have a gun and you're shooting it.
Right, exactly.
So you have all these crazy people. I remember the saying.
So
when,
how does that get mixed
when the
with virtual?
when the Bluetooth came out, the joke was it's hard to distinguish the crazy people from the sane people anymore because
they're just walking around talking to themselves.
everybody seems like they're talking to themselves.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be like the same thing. It's the same version. Only they're gonna have glasses
on,
and you're gonna see people running around
playing a video game
in the park.
Right. Actually, kind of makes me think about the game I'm going to try and develop. I think.
Now you're doing like you're doing code, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's kind of hard. It's one of the interesting topics.
Yeah. Before we get there, I mean, how did you get into it? Did you go to like school for it?
No.
Or was this like a hobby that you got into?
Hobby.
So, just a hobby that you invested yourself into.
You remember I was living in Thailand for a while.
Right.
Then I lived in Vietnam for a month.
Drinking mushroom milkshakes.
Yes, that was great.
Were you like in the middle of like a
trip and I was like, I got a code. I need to code this into reality.
An LSD epiphany where you're just like, holy shit. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be so good. I'm going to be such a good. I'm going to go into
I turned into Neo and I'm like, I can control the universe.
You're like stopping like the bullets.
No, actually. No. I was in Vietnam like my second or third week and I was just like, I really just don't want to do the touristy thing right now. I need something else to do besides like walk around and see another museum or another like site or whatever. And I'd seen these ads for coding on like Facebook or whatever. And I was all right. I always kind of wanted to do that. Yeah. And I wanted to do video game development when I was young. It was just kind of hard. And then I found the guitar and it was like,
yeah, you had that hobby.
Right. Exactly. Right. But now there's so many more resources. So I started taking those courses and then went from that thing to like a couple books. And once I got like a little bit of a good understanding, I just started making applications. And the idea was, well, the curriculum for my company kind of sucks. And so I was like, I should be able to make better curriculum. Like, instead of just like a static PowerPoint where like kids draw on the screen, like wonky crap. I started making apps to help that be a little bit more engaged.
So your first venture was just to make your job more efficient.
Yes, as just a learning exercise.
Right.
I need to
make your job easier.
Or I mean, just I'm learning how to code.
You weren't doing enough
I need
LSD
a project.
trips. Was being occupied.
I need to apply my knowledge somehow.
Okay.
Force myself to actually practice it.
Right.
And so that was my idea. I'm going to make some of these games, or I'm going to make some of these apps, so that the curriculum gets better. And then I was like, wait a second, these apps would be way better as games.
Right.
So then I bought a book on how to make games in the language that I was learning, and it was just hard. It was just like, you got through the first couple of chapters, not too bad, but then some sort of like high level thinking that coders know about. Where you
just like you gotta put it down. You gotta put the book down, go away for a while, and then come back. And kind of like learning music, where you go up to a certain point, and you're just like, I don't even know what the fuck this means.
Right.
And then you walk away for like a couple weeks, and then you come back and go, all right, I kind of.
And then maybe you get
try
it
to form it. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there's a lot of that back and forth or whatever. But once I had trouble with that book, I was like, I gotta find a better way. Like somebody has to know how to do this way easier than what this book is trying to tell me.
Did you go on like YouTube or Google?
I did. I spent like 2 weeks scouring Google and doing all these things.
The Bob Vila of our generation.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I came across this guy named Chris DeLeon. He has a club called Game Keto, and he's been doing game programming for a long time. And he just has this tutorial, like code your first game, and it just clearly explains exactly what you're doing.
Right.
I mean,
do you have to let's see. So just to basically understand this. So you have a laptop, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, do you got to get software to make a pattern or make a code or whatever that
Depends on what your approach is.
Or do you go to a site that has a base format? I'm just looking at like what the foundation is.
Okay.
How do you get from I have a laptop to now I'm creating something like the framework of something?
So there's two basic approaches, I guess you could say. One is that you could just do it straight from code, and that's one way that.
And how do I get to the code?
The code that you need to make the game.
Yeah.
Well, you could take snippets from different places, or just like this course that
you're downloading something.
No. Well, this particular language is built into every browser.
Okay.
And this language is called JavaScript.
So you're basically
that software is already in Google.
Okay,
Chrome.
so you're basically in the Google browser.
Yeah.
Where you look for porn.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Basically. Mm-hmm. So you're in that. Mm-hmm. And then from there you're putting in HTTP to get to somewhere else.
Kind of sort of. So
to get to DOS.
What you really do is you have any text editor.
Right.
You open up Microsoft WordPad or whatever.
Right.
Or there's better ones to do.
Which is that gray box with the green screen.
And you just start typing words
with the matrix green on a black back. Basic DOS, right?
Yeah. Anything that's a text editor that looks like that. You just start typing in the code words and you put them in the right order, and then you save it as a JavaScript file or with the HTML files together, and you just load it up.
Load it up into what?
You just like double click.
And it
you
loads...
double click the HTML file and it runs. And you don't need $4,000 worth of software.
It runs off the operating system.
Right. Or of the Chrome of the browser system.
Of the browser system. It's running off of that.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Or you can go another way and use like the fancy software things that do a ton of the code for you.
Right.
And you only have to learn some of it, or even some you don't even have to know code.
What do you mean it does it for you? Like say you want to put a castle somewhere, you just put castle and it creates a castle for you.
You would draw a picture of a castle and then drag it into the game.
And then it takes that depiction and
it will makes
a graphic out of it?
An image. Yep.
Okay.
And then you can sort of tell it with the code or other pieces of that software, like if another picture hits it actually has to collide and stop.
Okay.
Or you can tell it, well, no, you can actually pass through this one. And,
right.
You still have to tell the computer what to do.
Right.
But instead of saying like, this pixel needs to be red, this pixel needs to be green.
Just a bit. Yeah.
It's like I drew something in Paint, or I took something
like Pictionary.
I took a picture on my phone. Right. And I just chopped it up in Photoshop and then drag it, drop it right into the software.
So how far advanced have you got in here? You making backgrounds? You making figures, or are you just doing like basic teaching tools that you're doing?
What do you mean? How far with the game coding?
How advanced?
Game
in coding have you got?
I wouldn't. It's so hard to say how advanced anybody is in coding because there's.
Well, no, just you. Like how detailed are you doing? You making Skyrim or something?
No, I would say. I mean, I could probably show you. I have.
Yeah, so okay, all right. That's why I got the camera angled just right.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if it's legal to actually show.
Well, it's your creation, though, isn't it?
Well, but we work on it in a club, and the club has dues and all kinds of crap.
Is this the Masons or Ball and Chain? Skull and Bones? Skull and Bones?
No, it's just I have no idea what the actual legal technicalities of it are.
Copyright?
Yeah, the copyrights and all that. I don't know what it is. But basically, to give you an idea, the last one I did was sort of like a World of Warcraft-y type thing, but very basic. I guess World of Warcraft is a tower defense. I don't know. I don't play games that much to know all the technical names. But
like, can you make like a Clash of Clans, some basic app?
That's kind of what it was.
That's what I mean. Some basic app that you can use on your phone, like Bejeweled or
I could do a Bejeweled,
or just a 2D side scroll like Angry Birds well, that's not even a side scroll. Sometimes it's side
yeah. It is side scrolling.
Yeah,
technically the picture is moving to the side.
Yeah, whenever you shoot the guy. So it's something basic and fundamental like that.
Oh, you meant what is it? Flappy Birds and Angry Birds. Those are two different
Angry
games.
Birds, whatever
Yeah,
they're
Angry
called.
Birds is not side scrolling.
Flappy Birds is the one that you're trying to
yeah.
Well, Angry Birds sometimes you shoot it and
it will move.
It will move a little if it's off screen.
Yeah.
Then you have to shoot it and go.
Yeah, a lot of what we do in these clubs is make games.
So it's a club.
Like
Okay, where do you guys meet?
Online.
Okay, so it's a virtual club.
Yep.
Okay.
Like actually right now they're probably having the meeting. It's people from all over the world.
What's the club called?
Game Keto.
Okay.
GAMKETO.
Cut.
Game Keto. I don't know.
Knights of Columbus.
But yeah, it's guys and girls from all over the world.
Right.
And
is there a lot of girls in there? Just like that one,
there's
girl.
a handful here and there. Like the co-host at the meeting is a girl.
All right.
And I remember there was this one girl that helped me out on my first game quite a bit because she did some drawings that were really awesome.
Okay.
Like I can make an animation, but she like made a really good one. And that's kind of how it works. Is right. Like I was so focused on just making my game function the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That other people were just giving me artwork.
Okay.
So they're practicing their artwork. I'm practicing my coding.
Are they all basically the same level of?
Those very different levels.
So it varies.
Yeah.
Like there's some guys that are like really in there.
Part of the point is like to do audio correctly.
Right.
People go to school for it, and then they spend 10 years before they're actually like really good at it.
I watch YouTube.
You go to
it took me about 4 months.
Computer science degree, to learn how to code and do it correctly, or
something sophisticated,
or an art school.
Because this is like fucking bare bones shit.
Right, but it's functioning, right?
Yeah,
that's the point I want to get to with the game coding. I want to get just functioning in the coding, in the audio, just so that I can show ideas to people.
Do you keep up with that community, the gaming thing community?
No.
All right. Because you never heard of Gamergate or anything like that?
I heard of that.
Anna Sarkeesian.
Yeah, well, that was just big news.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I forget exactly how that played. I don't even remember exactly what the issue was.
Didn't play well for her.
Yeah. Well, just remind me, what was the thing?
She was... I don't know. This is where I found Sargon of Akkad and all that stuff. But they were the Gamergates. The gamers were the first ones to tell the SJWs to go fuck off.
Oh, okay.
Which
probably makes sense.
And that got the ball rolling of everyone else telling them to fuck off.
Okay. Because you got a bunch of people hiding behind screens saying whatever the fuck they
want. That, and I mean, you don't fuck with gamers.
Well, that too. Yeah, there's like top level trolls.
Yeah, they are. That's where the Pepe the Frog came from, and Kekistan and all the 4chans and all like that.
Yeah,
that's where that comes from. The Gamergate community, where it's just they're the barbarians in the wilderness that you just like. All right, don't mess with them. They won't come raid and murder you. Don't go over there screaming.
Just don't poke the bear. Right?
The force is female or whatever, and they won't come in and just annihilate your entire village without any apology. Which is what what gamers pretty much do. They're the independents.
Hey, that's
are anybody in your group like that? Do you go?
Well, no.
Kekistan? Do you ever say Kekistan in there? You ever hear anybody in there talk about?
No. The vibe of the club is very like you don't it's laid back but professional at the same time.
Anybody doesn't go in there and go, boobs are too big in the
no.
And people
I feel like I'm the guy who like pushes the boundary a little bit too much.
There's not enough
well, it's you got people from all over the world. You don't want to be offending somebody by saying something stupid.
There's not enough strong female leads in the game in games.
No, we don't usually. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they have talked about it, but I don't talk about it that much. My mindset is just like I'm here to learn how to make the games.
How does that work anyway with you guys in the chat community? Is it just typing? You guys are.
You mean For the
How's
game
that?
club?
I haven't been in a chat in like
Oh, well, during
since
the
I was
week,
like in '96.
during the week, it's a lot of chat. It's just like, hey, I'm having trouble figuring this thing out. Like, do you know anything about it?
What's the format of a chat? Is it still the side, a bunch of people on the side
Yeah,
of all
well,
these
or no,
people, and then
it's like a big window, and then
yeah, that's what I mean.
your
It's like
main
a window, and
conversation's in
then
the middle.
all these people are here
Yeah, they're on the right,
that are
and then
are in the chat
and
that are in the chat, and then you have the big board of all the scrolling
yeah,
text.
you can contact individual members, or you can do like sub channels. So like, there's the
Right.
Game Keto main channel, and then there's like, we're
The
working on
main,
this
but you still
game.
have the main board in front of you
Right.
where everybody's talking.
Yeah, or you just switch from channel to channel to channel.
Right.
So over here they're talking about game A. Over here they're talking about game B. Over here is just regular chat. And,
Right.
um,
Hot milfs.
but then once a week we do like the video conference.
So they haven't evolved the chat since then.
Well,
Like I
you
said,
can,
like
you can.
like
You
I
can
said,
do the Zoom.
I haven't done chat in like fucking God knows, like early 2000s.
No, you can do
2003
the
maybe
video conference, which we do every week at like 2:30.
right.
So you can see everybody's face and
Okay.
actually talk,
Right.
you know, or whatever. But to get people to commit to that level, like you wouldn't.
Some
do it
people
every
don't want to be
day.
on camera either.
That too.
Yeah.
That too.
It's fucking hard to get people over here.
Yeah, it
Nobody
is.
wants. Nobody wants.
Nobody
to,
wants
nobody
to
wants. Nobody wants to
put
get on
themselves
camera.
out. I get it, because
I think they want. I think they think I'm like confrontational about everything.
well, I mean, there is that you do come across that way on the internet, but
Yeah, I'm a dick.
there's also like the realistic fear of, you know, technically in this country we're allowed to say whatever we want, but that doesn't mean when you go home and your wife heard that weird thing you said, you're not going to have a discussion.
I don't push anybody on here if they don't want to talk.
No, but I mean, that's why
maybe
people don't come.
I think they assume that I'm gonna push them on it. I'm just like,
yeah.
you talk whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. But I think they're also worried about, if I say the wrong thing, then I'm gonna have that awkward discussion with.
It's not
so-and-so.
live. I'll just edit it out if you don't want to say it.
Yeah, but
I always
that's kind of the point, isn't it?
I always
To have those weird sort of like a little bit more information than you would get.
I keep those in
Yeah.
at the discretion of somebody that I'm talking.
Oh, you would know to ask.
If
Are you
it's
sure you
something
wanna-
like crazy,
Yeah.
like you're like saying that Jews should be like interned or something. I'm just like, you sure you want to say that
Yeah.
out to
yeah,
the
yeah,
internet?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But yeah, we get together and help each other make games. That's a good.
All right.
It's a good.
You
Little,
you guys help each other.
Yeah, because
You guys share your what you've done,
it's on a web page called Itch.
and how long? How?
I swear.
Okay.
I swear to God.
All right.
I gotta play my games.
That sounds like a fucking. That sounds like a subtitle on a WebMD. So how long?
I've been playing the Itch
Yeah.
for hours and hours. I prescribe a girlfriend.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing coding for almost 2 years. The
Right.
game coding a little over 1 year.
Okay. So just 1 year. This is so it's a recent.
Fairly
And
recent.
How many breakthroughs have you gone through? Like where you've
It
been
happens
like
all the time.
where you've been like, oh, you know what I mean?
all the time.
When you're learning something and you're
And
just
just
like,
as many headaches too.
yeah, exactly.
You just
And then finally it just clicks in your head and you're just like, I can't
You
believe
never
I
know
haven't
when it's
figured that
gonna
out.
happen.
Yeah, it's very
time.
it's very random. Yeah, epiphanal, I guess you would say.
Yeah. And that's why you go to some of these clubs.
Yeah.
It's to streamline that process.
Right.
I've been thinking about it a lot recently about my approach, and the core philosophy of the Game Keto Club is to learn by doing, right? You can't just sit around and read books all the time and like watch
Right.
tutorials.
There's theory and there's practice.
Right. Go fucking make something already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Lab work.
However, I've been thinking about, you can take that philosophy too far where if, you only know like 2 or 3 techniques, and then every time a new problem comes up,
You're using
you're
the same
clueless,
2 or 3.
or you're using the hammer to hit everything like a nail,
Yeah.
or you're just clueless every
Sometimes
time.
it's a screw.
Like, what are the 10 things I probably should have read
Right.
about before I even attempted to do this thing, you
Right.
know, just so I would have.
Have you been as successful? Is there any monetary
No,
value in
not
it?
yet. No,
Uh,
maybe I would.
how about it in your like your personal workings? What you're doing, using it as a teaching tool.
Well, I've only made the one game that I um suggest to my students because I know it works
Right.
for them. So it was a game called Flying Phonics where you would just have like letters
Right.
flying around on the screen, and it would say either like the letter name or the letter sound. And you just click on it, but they're shaped like flies or whatever, so you're like
Right.
splatting a fly, you know,
Right.
something fun for
Yeah.
the kid to do. But it actually like kept track of their accuracy,
Right.
so that every day that they would play it, they were like
Get better and better at it.
well,
That's a
and
smart.
not just get better and better at it, but like
Learn what
not
goes where.
waste their time doing things they've already mastered.
Right.
So it's like if every time you load up the game and you get letter A correct,
Right.
well, you shouldn't be practicing letter A because you already fucking know it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
If you're getting 100% on that,
right,
move on to B.
right. So the game like progressively keeps track and makes it harder for them over time. So that
Right.
it's like balancing things that they need to know and not focusing too much on stuff that they already know.
Right.
So
That's cool.
that was my first game, and I'm getting.
How long have you been applying it so far? And how
been
with
about
how
a
many
year.
people? How many kids?
I just use it when I think they need it.
Okay.
So the VIP Kid Curriculum, the company I work for, actually
Right.
has gotten a little bit better over time, and so I feel like there's a little bit less of a need because they were like misplacing students. Like,
Have you ever
way
tried to
ahead of where they were.
collaborate with them, the VIP guys?
I don't know.
Is there any way to contact them?
Yeah, but they're such like a corporate thing that if I don't come at them hard
It's just
with
a
like
homogeny
a
of just
portfolio,
yeah.
that they're just gonna be like, okay, teacher
All
Steve.
you're seeing is white shirts and black ties.
Yeah.
It's just a
No,
homogeny
seriously,
of
there's 50 or 60,000 teachers,
yeah. Right.
and there's like they're approaching 1 million students. Like they're not listening.
They're
to
probably
me.
already overwhelmed in the comment section.
Yeah. So I'm like, I really want to like sit around and do it right, and
Right.
or else what am I applying for? Or like what am I showing this company that's already
Right.
$1 billion company? Like it's not. They're not looking at me at all.
I had an idea I was trying to get an app done, like a game done, long time ago. I kind of gave up hope because I didn't really pursue it to
What was
full.
it? What was it?
It's called Nuts in Your Face. Do you remember there was a popular game and it was the trash can game where you're flicking the paper into the trash can.
I have no idea.
Okay, so there was a game called, I forget what it was called. It was like a trash can. It was the paper basketball.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, there was a trash can and you would flick it and it would go into it was just a mind-numbing game where you didn't, it was just there while you're waiting for your turn to the bank teller.
Right.
So you're just flicking it and then you bounce it off a fan or something.
Yeah.
But I wanted the same thing, but it was flicking nuts into like rotating mouths.
And just call it Nuts in Your Face.
Yeah, just call it Nuts in Your Face.
$1 million idea.
$1 million idea. Nobody steal it.
Uh-huh.
It's already trademarked right here.
Mm-hmm.
Got the timestamp.
I'll make it in 30 minutes.
Yeah, but I had all kinds of different ideas. I had like just a regular peanut, and then like a cashew that was like a boomerang. Oh, and then like an almond was like an arrow that blew the back of the head of, of the face.
Well, that's another thing.
And zombies, like zombies would come up, and you had to flick nuts in their mouth.
To what?
Oh no, was it nuts in your mouth or nuts in your face?
Nuts in. It would be nuts in your mouth, right? Because you're talking about floating mouths.
Yeah, I forget what the name was. It wasn't even that. It was probably it was something more. It was something clever like
nuts on your chin.
Yeah,
chin nuts.
I think it was something. It was something. It was a clever name that I was just like
nuts on your wall.
Nuts. I don't know. Well, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna do a Christmas one, chestnuts. But it was just like nuts in your face or something, or nuts in your mouth. Or
not
whatever.
very important.
Nuts in your mouth pretty much is pretty not very important. It's catchy. It's just something that's catchy.
Yeah,
Nuts
the important part is just having nuts.
Yeah,
and faces.
The name of the game was going to be the draw to get it. Nuts in your mouth. What the?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
that's the hook.
That's the hook where you're nuts
Speaking
in your mouth.
Speaking of hook, you remember that Blues Traveler song?
The what?
Blues Traveler song.
Yeah.
Hook? Do you know
the
the words?
Hook brings you back. I remember the music video with the it was very Wizard of Oz theme.
Yeah, this guy like watching TV and there's like the politician on there.
Yeah.
Saying a bunch of bullshit or whatever.
Right.
And he's just like, I hate life. Oh my gosh.
Right.
But some of the lyrics in there, they're like just as unintelligible as Yellow Ledbetter by Pearl Jam.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the Ledbetter song cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody has any idea what the hell he's saying.
Yeah, Leadbelly cover. Wasn't Leadbelly cover?
I don't know. I don't even know who Leadbelly is, honestly.
It's an old blues guitar player.
Oh, okay.
That was not very
Maybe
popular.
it is. Maybe it is.
If you ever listen to him, you're just like, this is terrible stuff.
Yeah, because it's like,
no wonder everyone.
It's got a basic bluesy chord progression too.
It was like there was BB King and there was Leadbelly,
mm-hmm.
and everybody was like, "Wow, Leadbelly, I can't understand a word he's fucking saying." Mm-hmm. But BB King is great.
But yeah, so Hook, it's like that main line. The hook brings you back. I always thought until like yesterday it was the heart brings you back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I thought it was something about like, I don't know, a love song or whatever, but it's like,
right.
It's just a song about lying to people. And there's a line in there where it sounds like he's saying old Mexican rely or something, and he's saying something completely different.
Right.
It's like, I mean, it happens a lot that you just don't understand what somebody's saying.
Yeah, I didn't
singing. But that song was like especially atrocious.
Purple Haze, I always thought was the gay song in high
Right.
school because I thought, excuse me, while I kissed this guy. I was like,
Right.
what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, man?
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about, Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the name of that was the idea for the game. It was just a basic paper trash can game,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just mouths like faces like the Attack on Titan faces, just like going around with opening
Mm-hmm.
and closing, and you got to flick nuts in there.
David Hasselhoff mouths.
Yeah, basically, and then just like different levels. You know, like the one level is just the faces going across the screen. Another level is just like the whack-a-mole kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one like zombies.
It's actually kind of the point where I want to get to with my games, because
to be able to make games to put on like in a store, like an app store, and see anybody will
or just to make a bunch of them that are really easy, like what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and have students be able to subscribe to like a little channel where they can just be like, here are 5 stupid games that help you practice your phonics, so that you don't have to like sit in a room and just go you know, by yourself or with some stupid computer program.
Right.
You're going around and you're interacting because
learning is boring. Yeah, learning is boring.
Yeah, and then it makes half my job boring, right?
Yeah.
What is the point of speaking with a native speaker of a foreign language?
Anything with repetition becomes boring.
Well, yeah, but the whole point of me being there is that like they're gonna actually be able to talk to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we were saying before, you can't just read the books and learn the grammar.
Yeah.
At a point, you have to make a video game. Right. That's the only way you're gonna really learn how to make a video game. If you're going to speak English, you're going to have to speak with a native speaker. But then if half the time I'm in there, I'm like teaching them how to spell and say basic sentences. It's like we're not doing why I'm there, you know?
Or you could do a VR where you're in a room and it's total immersion of the other language.
Yeah.
And you have to interact with people.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping to get long term.
Like
now I want to take care of the bullshit.
There's like different avatars. Mm-hmm. And you're in the VR and you have the thing and you have a mic in front of you, or a mic hanging off, and you have to go to the stand where there's an avatar and they're speaking that language. Right,
and you're like, I need rice and beans.
And you have to enunciate, I need this and this and this.
Right.
Donde está el baño?
Right. Exactly.
Donde está un biblioteca?
Mi bicho es en fuego.
Yeah.
Necesito medicina.
Pero pinche Trump.
What is pinche?
Pero fuck. It's like a slang.
Right.
Or like the,
Yeah. I know.
a lot. Is there any hot girls? Fuck yeah. Like, for sure. Like something like that. Yeah.
No, that's exactly right. I want to start by learning how to do easy crap.
Right.
And so it'll be easy for me to learn how to do things.
Right.
And then the game will be easy for them to play, and they can focus on just like, did I get it right? Did I get it wrong?
Is there a chat for your other teachers that you get together with other teachers in your VPN or whatever that thing?
Yeah.
Does any of them do coding? Do you know?
Yeah, I think there's actually like a lesson curriculum for the Chinese kids that you can teach those kids how to code in English.
Learn the code
in English, right? I did look that up, by the way, to learn the code thing.
That's my YouTube strike right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get struck down for saying learn the code.
Yeah.
No, you looked it up?
I did look it up.
It's pretty ridiculous, right?
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
People, I mean, it's like a perfect example of why the whole like safe space kind of crap doesn't work. No. It's just like, I can't even use words anymore.
What are you gonna
There's
do?
the line. I can't say the phrase learn to code.
What are you gonna do when you're in a like Walmart and somebody's being a dick? You're just gonna, what are you gonna do? Run to the fucking, there's no safe space in Walmart.
Right.
You're just gonna have to deal with it, or and ignore it.
Right, exactly.
You know what safe space is in like reality? Ignoring.
Yeah.
That's a safe space in reality. In reality, it's ignoring. It's just like, all right, that person's crazy. I don't want to deal. Or
I just don't agree with you, and I don't think we're gonna get anywhere. So
and I'm gonna walk.
Have a nice day.
I'm gonna walk away. That's my safe space. I don't care.
Yeah, like on a university, like there is a slight more point there where people are going to learn things, and so if you just got like trolls in the classroom saying a bunch of bullshit.
I always thought universities were institutions to challenge thought, not to suppress it.
Well, that's one of the deep
not
things.
To be like a monolith,
but that's what I mean,
or homogeny of a single-minded people.
Did you ever see the movie? Stop
PCU.
Me if we talked about this. Even before that, if we talked about this
with
last time.
like Ari from
Ari Scheffer or whatever that
from
guy's name is.
What's that show?
Go to sleep.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you just go to sleep? Entourage.
Why don't you go to sleep?
You remember that scene from PCU?
Yeah.
David Spade is like in his bed trying to go to sleep, and then Ari comes in with his girl, and he's like trying to fuck her like loud.
They used to be roommates. Yeah.
And then and Ari he's jumping on the bed. He's like slamming it with his feet. Go to sleep. Why don't you just go to sleep?
Yeah, and he was like flashback, and then he came back to reality. He's like,
Well, the point.
Ari, what's the guy's name? I forget his name. I don't know what the guy's name is.
I don't remember.
Even before that, you were saying.
Yeah.
Animal House?
No,
Are you going that far back?
No, I'm going Elephant Man.
Elephant Man? Okay.
Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, I've seen. I've seen the highlight version.
Oh, okay.
Or the would you like to see my chapel?
Right.
And
so one day
he's in the airport and they're chasing him down.
One day I was bored.
I'm a human being.
And I actually watched that movie, and it was after we started as a country having the discussion about whether or not college is affordable and all this kind of stuff. And the most interesting thing about the Elephant Man for me was, if you can clearly see in that movie that college used to be a place where people who were already experts in their field
went to refine
together, to refine it, to pass knowledge back and forth, and push the industry further, or the industry or their topic, whatever, their specialty, their field further. And it's now been monetized as like a factory system.
When you wanted to learn something,
things.
You became an apprentice.
Right.
And then you went to college to refine it.
Switched. Like that's like it's like the biggest con of our time.
Yeah, it is.
Basically, like you're getting an apprenticeship degree, except you're not.
No.
Like that's what you paid for, but you didn't get it. So
college has turned into like where you failed to learn in high school, you tried to learn more in college.
Right.
Because you're not being taught anything in high school. So you go to college to learn more basic shit.
I to go back and maybe this is what like privilege really is.
Oh yeah, we're fat and privileged.
But the thing is, the reason is
we're arguing 30. We're arguing 32 genders, so of course we're fucking fat and privileged. There's a great.
We have enough time to go to high school and not really learn anything.
Yeah,
and then go to college and not really learn anything.
Yeah,
and we're still basically okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess that's what privilege actually means. Well, for now,
empires gradually degrade. They don't degrade overnight.
Yeah.
It's a gradual decline to destruction.
Water kind
well, there's a great. I think Brett Weinstein said it. He was a professor at Evergreen, one of the like most liberal colleges. I don't want to say liberal, leftist colleges. Who's right now they're just crashing in enrollments. I mean, they're like crashing. I don't think they're going to be in the next 5 years a college anymore. But that's how bad it's gotten.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's how bad it's gotten.
That's the first I've heard that. I thought they just keep getting more and more money because people just keep going. It's like a sickness.
They get money. They get federal money in proportion to the student they get. It's not like they just get a set number. So this amount you've got this student, then the federal government gives money to the student gives it to Evergreen. It's like a cyclical thing.
Yeah.
The student applies for the loan to get in. It's like get financing for a car. You know, the dealership doesn't. The dealership uses you as a proxy to get the money from the bank.
Right.
So you're the one that's interested in the car. So the dealership's going to ask the bank on your behalf to get the car.
Right.
To give them money.
Like it's that assumed that the bank is going to be part of the process.
Yeah, and then you're responsible for the paying.
Right. And that's how the car dealership and the bank really win.
That's how it works. It's the same process as with college. You're asking to get to this college. So the college, on your behest, is going to ask the federal government to give you a loan to get into that college.
Right.
And then leave you with the responsibility of paying back. It's the same process.
Wow. Oh wait, so are you implying basically that no matter whether the person responsible for paying actually pays, the college still has its money?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
God.
The money goes.
Oh God.
It just the transfer of wealth goes from the bank to the dealership,
and you're hooked. You're responsible for making that connection.
Yeah, you're responsible for paying back the bank. You're not responsible for paying.
Yeah, but there's an extra level of distinction there where it's like the money has already been paid.
Yeah, the money's gone.
So it's like the college isn't actually responsible for what happens.
No, they've taken your money and burned it, swiped their ass with it, whatever they did with it. And then you're held responsible with either the federal government or whatever institution the federal government has set up, Fannie Mae, whatever. That's the same thing that happened with the housing also. You have a realtor or whoever owns the
realtor
bank.
Gets paid no matter what happens.
The realtor gets the money and he's gone. He sold.
There's no real up. Are there laws though that make either the colleges or a realtor like responsible for having any sort of judgment as to whether or not that money's going to get paid?
No, because you're a grown adult man.
Right. But I mean, it's just.
I mean, you have the only thing you have contract rights, but that's in the contract. That the contract has to be.
Yeah, but it just seems like.
But in the contract, people don't even read the contract either. Whenever
it just seems like we're giving people the right to not actually
smart.
Have to think anything through.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
The money doesn't have to be in my hand in order to get the thing.
You're talking about a society.
It's just all credit, like out of control credit.
Society has gradually gone to convenience. They've moved over to convenience, where everything is done for them. There's the fast food generation or whatever.
Yeah.
But we have moved to convenience. You've gone from someone who, if somebody wanted a chair, they'd have to whittle it themselves, to somebody just buying it, to someone
putting it on their card.
Someone going to the store. You've gone from someone that has to whittle a chair if they wanted a chair out in the middle of fucking nowhere before the industrial.
To having Amazon deliver it to your door.
To going to the store to buy a chair that somebody else made. to going to a computer to have it delivered
Alexa,
to your house.
I need a wooden chair.
And then you'll
show me 3 options.
Eventually you'll have somebody, not somebody, but you'll have a machine that'll unpack it or make it. The next step is somebody, if you want a chair, you have a machine that just makes it for you.
Well, that's the 3D print.
Yeah, 3D printed.
Or instead of you asking Alexa for a chair,
right?
Alexa says, "It looks like when you have dinner parties, there's always somebody standing around. We should print an extra chair."
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah. Make an extra chair and dissolve the chair after you're done.
Because it doesn't really fit in the room.
Yeah, it doesn't fit in the room. So you'll make furniture. You'll be so convenient.
My feng shui app says the vibe in this room is 13% off. Can you dissolve that chair for me?
Exactly. Also, you're recycling material to make something else.
Oh, the dissolve.
Yeah, you would dissolve. It would dissolve. It would dissolve
get
back.
Recycled.
Yeah. Well, it would probably liquefy.
Right, like you put it in the dissolved tray.
Yeah.
And then the tray collects the particles and then just puts it.
Same place where you made where it prints. Yeah. You just dissolve it, goes in a tray, gets pumped into whatever liquid. You know.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you've with each generation, they become more catered to the point where nobody wants to read contracts. Nobody wants to research what they're getting into. They just assume that they're being taken care of.
Yeah.
By strangers that they don't know.
Right.
Who are also self-interested.
Right.
So it's a trap. It's a trap of stupidity. But
I mean, we get so much mileage out of it, though.
Yeah. I mean,
is it just a matter of calibration, or do we just have to I don't know.
See, this is the thing. The United States is unique in its structure, whereas other empires, the problem of other empires is stagnation, where they couldn't adjust. They couldn't adjust. They were locked. Mm-hmm. They knew that they were gonna even the people in that society was like, we're going to crash. There's nothing they could do with that because they were already culturally heading that way.
I mean, doesn't that feel like where we're at right now?
No, because the beauty of the Constitution and all that, it's you can adjust.
You can adjust, but it almost feels like we're too stupid to.
You have the restraints on there. I mean, there's like you can fuck up the edges of it, but it's still in stone unless the states agree that. I mean, you can say you can ignore a law. The big government can ignore a law for a little bit of time, but then it cycles back to you're ignoring that law, and it says right here, and there's a judge sets of judge. The recycling of the judges. It's not going to be a judge there that has their kid be a judge, that their kid. So there's always a different personality in that seat, which is
it's adding the right amount of bacterial mix.
Exactly.
For the right gut flora kind of thing.
There's less chance of nepotism.
Right.
In that system. Because there's always something new, someone new in there. Like Donald Trump is something new. He's a
right.
He's a human wrecking ball that comes in and just
smashes everything.
Smashes. Why don't you have a dog? It's like, I've got too much shit to do. Is that
what he said?
Yeah,
that's what I say.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I mean, I don't even do anything.
That was, but that little thing right there is how much he's just smashed away the status quo. Yeah, because every single president has had to have this perception of the first family that all other families had to emulate. Right. You know what I mean? The happy wife, the well-adjusted kids that are successful. The dog. We're gonna decide. I remember when Obama came in, we're gonna decide what kind of family dog we're gonna have. They were trying to be the most pristine, perfect picture of family that everyone else had to emulate. They were the Jesus figure, the Jesus family, the atypical family. And then Trump came in and they asked him what kind of dog. He's like, dog. I don't need a dog. I got shit I gotta do.
Yeah, right. That's how I feel.
So
and like I don't have too many real responsibilities.
Yeah.
I have hobbies that might turn into real responsibilities, and I feel like,
yeah,
I know I've heard 2 or 3 stories in this past week of people spending thousands of dollars and going to the vet and like. I'm not trying to put anybody down about having a dog and needing.
Well, you gotta get dogs.
But I'm just like, personally, well, I'm glad I'm not the one at the vet, like, for 2 days and thinking about.
I got shit I gotta do.
$2,000 for the fucking surgery or whatever. Like, no, who has that?
So I don't. That's my theory though on why the United States is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
it's at least attempting to allow for self-correction.
It has the ability to self-correct. Yeah. Whereas if you look in history, other empires, they couldn't self-correct because there was too much nepotism, and cultural nepotism too. So
but I mean, I get that from a constitutional standpoint, but
societal
people are still people, and Congress is still just like yelling at each other every fucking day.
Right.
I was talking to somebody yesterday about, can't we just, like, no matter where you stand on the border issue, there has to be some sort of like reasonable like approach where it's just like, we're gonna build a little bit more walls so that the people can't just walk right in, and we're going to.
Every country has the same thing,
and we're going to increase the processing and the resources so that people aren't staying in places for a year with questionable.
It's 2 to 4 years jail time in Mexico if you cross their border illegally.
Really?
Yeah.
And we just send you back.
We don't even send you back. We just let you go.
Release, right? Yeah. But like, just. It's got to get fixed, right?
They catch it, and then they have.
Like, it doesn't matter. The point is, it doesn't matter like exactly which side of the aisle you're on. There just has to be some sort of like reasonable compromise there.
Yeah, there is. Just shut the border down and continue immigration as how we've always had. Let good people in that offer some value.
Well, generally, but then what about asylum? You got to account for that, right?
From where?
Everywhere.
Why, if they're looking for a better place, why don't they stop in the next country?
That's a fair point. But that doesn't mean if it's come to our border and we have the capacity.
Okay. Mexico is not a third world country. They've got infrastructure. They've got civility. They've got civilization.
So basically, at that point, you're saying by default, somebody can't.
Mexicans
can't claim
if your true intention is that you're fleeing persecution in your country, then the next country is already an asylum.
Right. You shouldn't have to come all the way up here. Because by default, Mexico would be an asylum country.
Will automatically be an asylum country. So
that would, Mexico in itself, from an asylum standpoint, you're saying, is the border.
Exactly.
You've crossed an entire country that's a border.
People that come over, they're not coming from Mexico. They're coming from Guatemala. They're coming from Nicaragua. They're coming from South America.
El Salvador. Yeah. Honduras.
Mexico's built itself up to the point where, I mean, we don't get that many Mexicans.
Wouldn't they have a limit too about how many they can take in?
Well, that's their problem.
Well, no, but at that point you would spread, right?
No.
Let's say there's 100,000 people.
What, for asylum?
Let's say there's 100,000 people from Central America next year that are going to seek asylum.
This is I understand this argument. This is the argument that we're going to fix a problem.
Well, but it's not even that we're going to fix it.
Okay, where does it end? Let's say people.
We're switching points though.
No, you're saying we need to take in people from asylum, right?
Well, legally, yeah, we're a part of an agreement that says we do that.
Well, the asylum is if you're being persecuted in your country. Right. That's what asylum means.
Right. Yeah.
Not because you're hungry.
Sure.
It means if you're being persecuted. By the governing body of that country.
Right.
That's what asylum means.
Right.
That's not why they're coming here.
Well, but just to clarify the one point, if there were hypothetically 100,000 asylum seekers.
Okay. Why don't we shove them over to Canada then? Where's the?
Well, it would just be fair disbursement, I guess you could say. Like, let's say Mexico takes 30, we take 30, Canada takes 30.
Where's the line? Where's the line?
That's other question.
Okay,
now I ask the same.
Now you're letting everyone that doesn't want to make their country better, that's fleeing their country, not because they're being persecuted, but because they're just poor and hungry.
No, we've already made the distinction that at that point they would have to be being persecuted.
Yeah, but that's not the percentage that's coming over.
I was just saying hypothetically. I understand what you mean.
If they were being persecuted by their government and they were fleeing and they needed asylum, then yeah, but it's not going to be 100,000 people.
Yeah, I don't know.
100,000 people is not going to be. There's not enough. If there's 100,000 people that's being persecuted by their government in a country, that 100,000 people can just turn around and start fighting the people they're persecuting because they have the numbers,
right? And
then make their country better.
So then, my question is becoming.
While we're going,
sure.
If this is the argument for people, because they say asylum, they're not coming for asylum. But even if you're just open border for people coming in just because they're hungry or they're poor in their country, where does it end?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because it's not just going to be people from South America. It's going to be people from all over the world.
Right. That's what I mean.
If you calculate...
Instead of it being 1.5 million people next year, it's going to be 5 million.
No,
whatever.
It's 2.5 billion people that are living off of $2 a day.
No, but I'm saying we're already at a place, like, we accept 1 million a year, right? Through, like, normal means of immigration.
No, we don't accept it. We tolerate it right now because the laws don't prevent us from throwing them out. Oh, from legal immigration.
Legal immigration is like 1 million a year.
Yeah, we take in more people than
right. But that's what I mean.
We take in more people than all the countries.
That's what I mean. We already take in 1 million a year, and we make 500,000 apprehensions a year.
Yeah.
So we're roughly talking about 1.5 million through processes that are already in place. Right. You're saying if we just go open borders or get extremely loose or whatever, what will that number turn into?
Well, they're already catching people from other countries, from Africa also, that are coming over here.
Yeah.
Some people are going to start coming in here from India also, and Russia and Eastern Europe. All those countries that are poor and impoverished are going to try to come up here through Mexico. So how do you stop that?
Or what is the reasonable projection? Like how much resources do we have and how much can we actually handle?
If it's a trickle, you can handle it fine. If you have an influx of people, just a mass influx of people, if you could look all the way back through history, every single place that has ever taken in a bunch of refugees
all at once
have collapsed. They've all collapsed.
Because it's chaos, right?
Yeah, because you're introducing an unknown to a standard,
right,
or to a constant that is just going to start shattering the pillars.
It's too many variables at the same time.
Exactly, there's too many variables in a constant.
Right.
You start throwing too many variables in a constant, and it's just you're just gonna be a sieve until it's just a flood.
Right. But that's what I mean. Like, have we already? This is what my sister said. Not that I should probably speak for her or whatever, but
we'll edit this out.
That she's basically said the experts already figured it out. Like, I don't know why you talk to people about this. It's like it's already decided, and the people on Facebook and stuff, they're just yammering. It's like the experts already
decided.
Like, people have already researched this topic. They already know how many people we can take in. It's already been figured out.
I don't understand. Who? How?
Well, because the I don't know, people sit around in think tanks and like, how many people are crossing the border? What are our resources? What can we handle?
Miami's going to be underwater by 2020. By 2012.
But I mean, like, I don't know exactly how true that is, but it's got to be somewhat true. Somebody's got to be paid to think about this crap and actually form an expert opinion.
It's not about, because you can always resource isn't fixed. You don't
creating wealth.
You don't fix. That's not fixed. The resources are always in flux. You'll find something new. You know what I mean?
Well, that's also part of the pro-immigration argument.
Yeah, I know. I understand the argument.
Yeah.
And to some degree, as a libertarian, I agree with open borders.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you're putting pressure on the structure.
Yes.
Especially
too much to handle at once.
This is my argument whenever I get into argument with it. This is my perception. As long as you have the welfare state and the warfare state in charge in this country, you are always going to have a problem with immigration, because welfare is stealing from the local public and warfare is endangering the local public from outside interest from outside. So you have a warfare state that's causing all these fucking problems. People are angry in those places. They're coming to your country. They're going to be angry at you. Mm-hmm. And you also have another faction that's stealing your wealth and giving it to some stranger that you don't know, that's coming in here that doesn't have your values or culture. Mm-hmm. Also, those people aren't integrating. So they're going to pull into segments and create their own little towns with their own little cultures. And those cultures might have some traditional law that goes against your culture and your ideals and your philosophies.
Right.
Like the women should wear all hijab, right?
At what point does the separation of church and state actually uphold?
Yeah, at one point do those people become a majority and overtake that government, and then starts changing the idealistic philosophies of that.
Well, isn't that part of the self-correcting sort of thing that you were talking about before?
Yeah, but there's
in the sense of, well, if the people voted in, then that's what the people voted in.
There's only so much antibacterial,
I know.
There's only so many white cells you can have in your body before that get destroyed. Mm-hmm. Before you're Matthew McConaughey crying in a fucking Buick.
Oh God, I forgot about that movie. But yeah, but it's part of the process, I think, right? If we are supposed to be accepting everybody in, and
not everybody. We don't accept everybody.
Well, I mean, like, within reason.
That has never been a policy, that we accept everybody.
No, I mean, accept every culture. Except
yeah.
It's supposed to be separate but equal.
Well, why don't they make their country? This is the argument. Why don't they make their country better?
Yeah. Do you ever see that video of
I mean,
it's a TED Talk, and the guy is doing like the
gumballs.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the same thing.
They're actually hurting their own country by coming over here instead of staying. The smart people should be in their own country, making it better.
That's another thing. We're pillaging their best people.
Yeah.
That's gonna weaken the social structure of their culture.
Well, I mean, that doesn't necessarily take into account that they could come here for a while and go back.
This is the desegregation argument also for the black community. When the segregation laws, went away, all the people who were successful and mobile and professional left those communities and left an underlying layer of,
right,
poor.
Right.
So they destroyed those just on the fact of the mobility of those people.
Right.
Left those communities and left, the disenfranchised, the incapable.
Right. Instead of banding together,
which created a cycle of poverty and crime, and then government legislation on top of it pushed it down.
I think there's something to be said that maybe some of those people would be coming here for 5 years and amassing some wealth and going back. I would see that on the cruise ship a lot.
Yeah,
guys would work
that's what you
5 years straight, and then go back to their home country and just buy a house in cash.
Yeah, well, that's a good. My argument would be, if there's anybody here that does come in from, I would have like a program where you just came in, brought people in, taught them a basic skill, and sent them back to their country.
Yeah,
taught them electrical or carpentry or some basic fundamental skill of construction that they can go back to their country and use, or even business. How to
there's a lot of people going to those countries and doing that.
Yeah,
like teaching people basic farming in a
But at this point, those motherfuckers got the internet. Google that shit.
Not everybody.
You learned how to code.
It's less than half the world is connected to the internet, right?
I don't know, but
that's what I think.
That's going to be more and more.
Yeah. Everybody's going to have an $8 burner
Everybody.
phone.
Elon Musk is going to have the global satellite connection link.
Mm-hmm. Something.
Yeah.
We're not there yet, though.
We're getting close.
We're gonna get there, but
I mean when I was young, when I was a kid, the big things were poverty, like poverty and illiteracy were the big global crusades. There's like beyond poverty, like drinking in the same river you're shitting in, and living in a fucking hut.
Yeah,
that was when I was a kid. That was the big thing, and it was like 50% of the population. It's now 10%. Right. It's gone from 50% to 10%.
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with China capitalizing. All those Asian, because most of the population is in that area. Mm-hmm. That has gone. That's because of those Asian countries taking on free market principles. Like Singapore has taken it's a fucking rock. Basically, or is it Hong Kong or Singapore?
Probably Singapore.
Singapore is a fucking rock. You can't.
And it's like one of the most wealthy.
You can't grow shit. There's no resources there,
right? Whatsoever.
But its location, it's an ideal location to trade.
Oh, okay.
That's what's going on. Say there's like almost zero restriction over there. Mm. You can fucking trade over there. Countries come in, they don't get charged to trade in there with each other.
Oh, okay.
So they have taken a fucking rock that doesn't have any resources whatsoever, and they have made it one of the biggest economies
by letting people trade,
by just letting being the medium between two places to trade with. So you don't need resources, and resources are ever evolving as anyway.
Well, yeah.
How do we get here?
I don't know. There's lots of talking about random things.
Yeah. Have your sister come on. I want to know these.
Oh, well, I think she's in Chiang Mai now. Chiang Mai.
So when you were over in Asia, did you start doing an Asian thing? We start talking Asian?
No, not at all.
You started.
I just didn't even try.
Did you just do like the English? This I called the stunted.
What do you mean?
I call it stunted. The stunted vernacular. The stunted. Well, you don't accentuate or anything.
Oh, okay. No,
you're not a Democrat trying to pander for the Spanish vote.
Oh my god. Oh man, that Cory Booker face was fucking amazing.
The funniest thing
then he spoke. I didn't watch the whole thing, and I don't know. I mean, it's 25% of the American population now, or the U.S. population. You got to start somewhere, right? But it was cringeworthy at the same time.
You don't. The funniest thing I read was this one guy said he sounds like us on coke talking to a cop.
That's funny.
He sounds like what we would sound like on coke talking to a cop after getting pulled over.
It was funny. It's bound to happen sooner or later. We've all been learning it in school forever, and
yeah, either that or French.
What?
We had this argument too last time. Yeah, about when they should teach language. They should teach language in the kindergarten.
Oh yeah, like ASAP in the womb. It should, as soon as you're born, or they shove a VR helmet inside of your mother's womb.
Did you bring any game stuff?
I did. I brought my laptop.
You want to bust it out? Check it out. We'll try to not. We're not going to do copyright thing, right?
No, I'll just show you, and we can talk about it.
I could just do one of these.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I mean, nobody's going to watch this anyway.
I know. I just don't want to run into the guy who runs my club. We're friends on Facebook, and he might see it. I'm not trying to break laws and shit or get anybody else in trouble.
Yeah, that Antifa attacked that one guy.
What do you mean?
This Asian guy. I'm telling you that there's a civil war coming. Not a civil war, but I think there's going to be secession.
Yeah, I think something's going to happen soon. Just enough of the like-minded people are gonna take certain concepts a little too far. And
No, I think somebody's. They're gonna secede. Like I think they're gonna try to secede from the Union. Probably West Coast, Washington down to California.
Maybe.
That's inevitable. I mean, if you're that the same thing, you have. This is the problem with empires also. Whenever there was a change culturally within their segment of their empire, nobody could secede out of it. What happened also is instead of letting a portion of their empire secede, you have the option as a state to secede from the Union. So if you don't like what the federal government's doing, you can fucking just leave.
Okay, yeah.
All empires, pretty much, you couldn't secede from that empire. You had to be in.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a mutual agreement. I mean, sometimes they had
right.
So sometimes they had leagues and agreements.
That's supposed to be the basic idea of capitalism in the first place. It's that every time you do something, it's because you actually agreed to it.
Yeah,
as opposed to the government saying, "Here's your piece of bread."
Yeah, that's authoritarian.
That's all you got.
Well, that was the founding principles of the republic. Is you had 13 different states that all voluntarily and mutually agreed to be under a federal union.
They weren't like conquering each other.
No, it wasn't conquering. Right. So if they all mutually agreed to be on, they can mutually agree to be out. Like even when a territory like Puerto Rico, right? Yeah. In order for Puerto Rico to become a state, the people within that state have to vote yes to become a state.
Oh, right.
Or they can actually, they have three options whenever they vote. They can either vote to become a state, vote to remain a territory, or vote to be independent. They always vote to be a territory.
Right. That's their choice.
They like to be, yeah. They like to scream about America also while they're hanging on its dick. Shout out to all my Puerto Rican followers that just left and never coming back.
So you
okay, what is this?
So this is just the title screen of a game that I made, or I helped make
a
couple weeks ago. So you'll see.
Is this a game about Mexicans crossing the border?
It does kind of sound like that.
The name of the game is Alien Overrun.
Yeah.
So that whole 45-minute conversation about illegal aliens was just a
build up to this.
Yeah, we were just prepping up to this.
So you'll see.
Okay, just so I can tell you what I'm looking at. It looks like a desert between America and the United States.
It does kind of look like
with
that.
Plateaus. And the game is called Alien Overrun, but it has nothing to do with the border crisis. Just to
clarify. So you can see, it's called a tower defense game. So you build your little castle right here
with walls.
Well, I guess there are technically walls on there, but what you do is you build up your resources. Like here, I'm gonna get some minerals, and I can build more buildings once my mineral tower collects enough minerals.
Now, let me ask you a question. When you're building your building, is there an option for cheap labor?
No, there is not. Not in this game.
Can you pay those people getting them in minerals under the minimum wage? You don't have to document them or pay like a
nope. There's no documentation in this game.
You don't have to pay a payroll tax.
Well, I guess the odd twist on this one is that all the aliens are actually assumed to be bad in this game. So you can see these little critters are coming. Actually, I can.
That's racist. You can't say critter.
Look. Okay. See these little bugs are coming.
Yeah.
They're coming to attack.
Are they the aliens?
Yeah.
And you're pretty much just shooting them at the wall.
Yeah. Shooting them at the wall.
All right. I gotta tell you, I'm loving this game already. This game, I just want to say this game fits my values.
So I've got my little archer thing going there. And the whole idea is to just stay alive and defend the castle.
Right, that's Right.
So they're coming.
Okay, now you're collecting minerals.
Yep.
You have a mineral gauge here.
Yep, I have 700 and
Now,
800
what do you use the minerals for?
to build these buildings.
To build the wall.
To build the wall. I have at least 5 billion right now.
Build the wall. Now,
so I'm gonna build another archer.
Is this
kill more
the
aliens.
minerals? Is this what Congress has allocated to you to build?
No, this
to build
is
your
me collecting
to build your wall.
So there's more enemies about to come.
Right.
I'm gonna build a crystal tower. These are more resources.
Okay.
So now we've got different enemies coming.
Oh, you got different towers here.
All
right.
And you can see over here, these are like more of like a robot type enemy.
Mexicans.
So they're making like the slightly more robot.
Right. So these are okay. That guy's clearly from Guatemala. Okay, so you have towers that shoot and kill, and you have towers that
get resources,
cultivate or mine for resources.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
now, what are you shooting here?
That's not a shot. That's a beam to let you know that you're actually collecting minerals.
Oh, these are collecting minerals.
Right.
What are these guys doing?
They're waiting to shoot the enemies.
Oh, these are the towers.
Right.
And this tower here is the...
Well, this guy is getting crystal resources.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and you made this game?
Well, there's a guy from Poland who was the lead on this game.
Right.
And there had to have been at least 10 people.
So these aren't... So technically then, these aren't Mexicans, they're Muslims. if he's from Poland.
The part that I focused on was using the software that gets the sound into the games. So like some guy wrote the background music and I think he put that in there himself. But like you hear the sound of mining the minerals and the crystals, like the So I went out in my yard and I started like hitting rocks and collecting those sounds.
Yeah. So that's you?
That's me making the noise.
That's you making the rock noise?
Yeah. And then this crystal one is a slightly different sound, so I made that one more glassy or metal sounding.
Well, you got a guitar. I mean, you can do the bass, the E.
Yeah, you can do some of that.
For like laser.
Yeah, you can do that too. And then there's like the little bugs that are crawling. They're going. That's me like taking scissors and going.
Or screaming Allah Akbar.
But the whole process of getting, not just recording those sounds, like you have to record the sounds,
right?
Then you have to put it in like music editing software. Then you have to put it in software that will put it in the game.
Yeah. How do you layer?
How do I layer what? Sound?
The sound over that, over this, over that.
You mean the sound itself or the sound in the game?
Sound, the sounds, the music. How are you layering that on top of this? On top of the game. How do you incorporate everything?
How do you incorporate it? Yeah.
Is that a gamer term? So layer's not a gamer term?
I guess you would say implement.
Implement
is the word that you would use.
All right, data.
So, here is the whole project folder.
Jesus, you got fucking everything on your whole. Is that an ADD thing? ADHD thing?
No,
where the whole screen has to be filled?
No, it's I can't be bothered to organize because I just keep moving forward.
Okay, all right.
So here's this piece of software called Fmod, and you can see like I have folders for all the different sounds.
Right.
So here's the Archer Tower. Here's the Archer Sound.
All right.
Here's the Crystal Tower. Here's the Crystal Sound.
So this is a software.
Mm-hmm. And what
are you recording it on your phone? And
I used to do my phone.
And then just putting it on here.
Now I have a slightly better portable microphone that like journalists.
How do you transfer? I use OneDrive.
I use OneDrive too, but there's just a USB cable that hooks into your computer.
Yeah.
Click a button, it opens a folder just like any other, and you just drag and drop your sounds into editing software, which would be more like this guy. It's called a digital audio
Studio
workstation.
1.4.
Yeah. The other one.
Oh, Studio 1.
Yeah. The other one I use is Reaper, which is
this one does what? Studio
this
One.
helps you EQ, add effects. The other program does it too, but this is more of like pre-processing, I guess you could say.
Right.
So let's see.
What's that mean? Pre-processing.
Like you get the raw sound file on your microphone.
And you take out the hisses and anything else.
Well, you have it on your phone. Then you put it from the microphone.
So it's a filter, you're saying.
Kind of.
Right.
Kind of.
And this is just all the audio.
So remember those big robots?
The Mexicans, yeah.
So these are all the sound files that
and this is called Mech.
Like a Mech Warrior kind of thing.
MECH.
Right.
Okay,
right.
not Mechs.
No.
Just Mech. Okay.
Sure. So you can see, like, I have a ton of files. Oh, and it's not finding them right now. But basically, I take this one sound and then layer it on top of another and see how that they sound together. And
okay.
Add, like, reverb to those couple of sounds, or delay.
Right.
Or EQ, take out the hisses.
And that you could do all that with Studio One.
Yeah. Then I take those files and I put them into Fmod, which you can see, like, on this one.
Right.
There was the mining sounds.
What's Fmod?
This is the audio integration. So this is actually the middleman between the game and the sound files. I guess you could say. So remember the tink, tink, tink sounds? Well, if you had the same sound going over and over and over again, it would just be like tink, 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 tink.
Yeah, you have to stretch it. You have to stretch it out a bit, right?
Or what you do is you make like 4 or 5 of them, and then you randomize which one gets played.
Okay.
So
4 or 5 different tinks.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have
different pitches.
Right. You can kind of see there's all these individual lines going
right.
there.
Yeah.
So when I hit play, you'll see every time it highlights a different track.
Okay. So the pitches change within.
Right. Or it's more like the performance changes.
All right.
So when every time I hit a different part of the table,
right,
it's a different performance. And then I can change the actual pitch of each performance, change the volume of each performance.
Yeah.
And with all those randomizations, it will sound more natural because it won't be the same ding, 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 ding over and over again.
Because that would sound unnatural.
Right.
And it's Chinese torture.
Right. Exactly. So then once I author the design in Fmod, I go back into the actual game program and I look through. Where's a good part to show you? So yeah, building, like, you can see this is the project folder for the entire game.
Right.
All of this crap.
All right.
Right. So we go into these things called prefabs, which are the fabrications of
the desert,
of any object in the game.
Right.
So if I have a bunch of buildings, we just use the same prefab for.
So the prefab comes with the software, or you had to create it yourself?
You can buy assets and
right,
put them in your game. In the club, we usually make our own assets
and share with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
We call mods or whatever, modifications.
Modifications. But you can see all these different scripts. I have to run through the code and figure out where that sound should get played.
That code looks so weird. Man, I just want.
Yeah.
I just want to see.
So the idea
is
the code looks like. You have to like be like a detective sort of, and where should this sound go? You know, you say, wait, let me look for something that's called building, and then.
You know why they call it code? Because it doesn't make any sense. So it's a code that you have to figure out. It
literally is. So it kind of plays into why I like teaching English. If you think about just English by itself,
right? English
is a code.
You can edit anything in here, right?
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
Gobbledygook.
Yeah, you have to spend like a year learning all the terms and poking around to figure out.
That's what I mean. It's like it's got its own language.
That's what, and that's why I'm tying it into the teaching English. Is
right.
English is its own code. You know, it's just an agreed upon sound that we make with our mouth.
Yeah.
To represent something in reality, and so all of these words, they mean something very specific, but you have to learn the concepts.
So it's basically it's foreign language you're trying to.
So
Does
what
the
I like about teaching English, not to be imperialistic about it, but I think we're at a point in the world where we should just like figure out a way to communicate with everybody and just not learn 100 languages.
You mean everybody start talking Latin? I'm surprised do they have translators where you could just type something in and it codes it for you? I figure somebody would invent that by now. Just put red castle.
No.
But then it would have to because that would be.
There's so many interpretations what that should be.
It's subjective interpretive, and then
the computer has absolutely no idea what you mean.
It's not an AI. It doesn't have an imagination where you say something and it has something that pops in their head. What you're thinking is not exactly what.
I mean, I'll try and explain. Like, okay, using system.
¿Dónde está?
Right. This basically means that there is a whole instruction manual called system.
Right.
That we have to tell the computer we're going to reference, or it won't know what language we're speaking.
Okay.
It won't even know what we're talking about. Over here, you have to tell the computer you need to remember something, and that something is going to be called init exception.
Okay.
And then down here somewhere, you tell what the definition of that init exception is. Right. And then you start getting into how you want it to actually use that information.
Okay.
And then whether or not it's going to interact with other parts
flags.
Of the game. Yeah. I don't even know. Oh, you went into like the super deep file here.
Yeah, it's all super deep. What are you talking about?
But basically, like, the computer knows absolutely nothing. Like, imagine if every time I had to talk to you, I said, Raul, I'm going to teach you a new word that is only going to be needed in the reference of this conversation. And I'm going to tell you the definition of it.
Right.
And then we're going to go through an entire complex conversation.
Okay.
And
you already lost me.
But basically, it's like telling the computer.
Yeah, I know.
Every little detail.
Yeah.
It has to know, or it won't know what to do.
Yeah, I get it. It's basically, it doesn't have its own understanding.
No.
You have to imply everything.
Yeah. And
to the littlest detail.
The tricky part becomes too is that how they say like the computer doesn't do anything wrong.
Right.
You told it.
It's always user error.
Right. Well, think about it I'm using a program that somebody else wrote. So somebody else wrote something.
So if they fucked up, right.
Or just something, it's not necessarily a mistake, but it's just their way of thinking about it.
Right. You have to go through their code?
You have to go through their code, and you have to, like, jump into their brain. Like, oh, I have to understand how you think about things so that I can do my thing on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've watched Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah. You basically get it. You understand.
I understand the theory. I understand what you're talking. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? It's very tedious.
Yeah.
Everything's very tedious.
Everything is even the relearn everything.
Even the mundane and simplistic is tedious to do. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you have to be a very, very focused and determined person to get through.
Yeah.
Just the most basic of coding. Like you can't have ADHD.
Yeah.
Or not ADHD. You can't have what's the other one? ADD.
Yeah.
You can't have ADD if you can't sit there and wander off.
No.
Because you would never get anything done.
Yeah, there's too many things you need to keep in your working memory in order to put the pieces together.
I would never be able to go.
Probably. You start slow. You seem very focused.
I'm in a room with lights. There's three things.
Out of this context, you're a mess.
Yeah, out of this context, I'm a mess. I got like I said, I got a wandering mind.
But a certain amount of that is healthy too. Like you can't stare at the computer screen for 6 hours straight and expect yourself to just do that.
I'd go right to porn. So that's let's go back to the game.
Yeah,
I want to see the game again. So
I could show you other ones too.
Yeah, how many games have you developed or helped develop? Or do you have anything you're working on now? Okay, Alien Overrun, which is clearly racist.
Uh-huh.
Do you have anything that isn't racist?
Yeah, let me pull up.
Balrog.
Yeah.
Sounds like some BDM, whatever.
BDSM.
BDSM shit.
Oh man.
Ball gag.
Balrog.
How do you find anything in the fucking...
Usually it's like I'm only working on like 3 things.
That looks like just a sea of where the fuck is it? Yeah, let's see ball gag.
So
it's basically jailbreak.
Yeah. So this one, it's completely different.
Right.
And most of what I did on this was the sound design. So I didn't write this song, but I helped put the song in the game.
Like, or the game.
Or like you see how I have this magnet thing now?
Right.
So somebody came up with that magnet code, but never actually put it in the game. So I like wound up drawing that that magnet pill that fell.
Right. Oh, so you wrote that?
Yeah, well, I drew that thing and found out how to put that picture in the game and then actually apply the magnet code.
What's this bitch doing? Keep adding bricks.
Oh, the fairy thing. So, like, when she flies in, she makes that little sound, like, bring, and then she puts a brick down.
Alright, so let me...
So I put that in the game, and you hear the music is speeding up.
Yeah.
So that's based off of how many bricks you've killed.
Alright.
And so, like, I figured out how to do that.
Who made the bitch? Who made that girl?
I don't know.
The fuck, man?
I think it's actually a wizard. I thought it was a fairy, too.
It's a fairy.
Yeah, that's what the guy said. Or that's what it's
What's
called.
the dropping things?
Oh, those ice things?
Yeah.
So if I hit that, I'll freeze. But I know.
Oh, so you're trying to...
So I'm trying to hit that last brick.
I thought you did hit the last brick.
Nah,
what are those yellow ones?
One.
Oh, you almost got it. You almost got it.
They don't die. So just another level of this.
It's basically jailbreak.
Right. So like when that money pill came down.
Right.
And that bling 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 sound came.
Right.
Like I wrote that sound.
Oh, did you? Who's that? What was that?
That is the extra life pill.
Yeah.
So that's me saying, "You and I are gonna live forever." That Oasis song.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I have like 7 different ones of me doing that. Like some of them are like deep quotes, tiny little sound effects are somehow designed by me. And you hear the sound of it hitting the wall,
yeah,
and hitting the bricks.
Right.
Remember how I was saying,
move the mic towards you. There you go.
Remember how I was saying in the other program I made like 5 different sounds.
Yeah.
And made it randomized and all that.
Right.
Well, for this game, I did the same kind of thing, but because I can't use the same software, I had to, in raw code, tell it how to randomize the pitch and the volume and all that kind of stuff. And what I actually wound up having to do is use a pitch shifter to make 5 different sounds.
How do you get the geometry? You get the computer to recognize that it's got to bounce off the walls and stuff like that. Is that all coding and stuff like that?
Yeah. So I can actually explain that.
And the angles and the geometry of that.
So this screen is probably about 600 by 800 pixels.
Right. So
you tell the coding program that you want it to be 600 by 800 pixels.
Okay.
And then you, at least the way I do it, is you set up a place in memory. Like, computer, you have to remember this.
Right.
You need to remember that the canvas width is equal to 600 pixels.
Okay.
And remember that the canvas height is 800 pixels. So if this ball goes beyond the 600 pixels, you tell the direction of the ball to change. So as soon, like every frame, right?
Yeah.
You know how computers work with like frames?
Yeah. Frame refresh rate.
Right. So every frame, the ball is like moving over 1 pixel or whatever. So if it gets to pixel number 600, then the program is told go the other way.
Go the opposite way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's basically, you're just telling the computer if the ball placement, the ball X position is greater than or equal to 600, go left instead of go right, or minus the X position instead of increase the M position.
I'm lost already.
So basically, the ball, right?
Yeah.
If it's over here, X position is 0.
Okay.
X1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I got it.
If it goes all the way to 600, instead of increasing every frame, you decrease every frame. 599, 598.
Okay.
Until it gets to 0.
How do you know
it goes back again.
How does it know the angle and stuff like
that? The angle in this game, you wouldn't necessarily calculate the angle.
Right.
You're just telling it Y position and X position. So if it goes, beneath 0, or no, that one would be 800.
Right.
Then it goes back up and
Right.
Yeah, there might be some angle calculations in there based on how the paddle's hitting it, but basically each frame it'll go X plus 1, Y plus 1, X plus 1, Y plus 1.
So that's all algebra shit.
Yeah, and it'll get changed based off of.
Are you using a lot of algebra on this?
Or
on this specific game, or just in general?
There's a fair amount of algebra in certain parts. Like I'm sure this color background.
Because you got to calculate for the unknown, don't you?
Yeah, you definitely got to calculate for the unknown. But it depends. Like there are certain things that have been figured out so many times.
Right.
You just like watch the video once and you just copy and paste the
right.
code in the right
somebody's
place.
Somebody's already blazed that. There's already a Christopher Columbus out there.
Right. Exactly. But there's certain guys who are like coming up with this like weird color background.
Okay.
Like he like really gets it, and like that's if I were to guess, he did that in raw code. Like
that he actually made that.
He didn't copy paste any of that, or he didn't just like tweak some other algorithm. He like, came up with that.
Now, you could probably get backgrounds too, right? You just go on.
You could do all that kind of stuff.
But probably the fun is to learn how to make it.
Yeah.
That way you can make something unique yourself.
Right. And that's the hard part in trying to explain it to a lot of people. Right. Why are you reinventing the wheel? Why are you reinventing the wheel? It's like, well, part of it is the challenge. You know, it can get too challenging sometimes, where it's just like, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life trying to figure out how to make that background.
Yeah.
I just need a background. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're just like, just get a background.
Yeah. I just had that.
I mean, you could have just did the standard, just black canvas.
Yep. Exactly. But again, part of it is
something unique. Yeah.
Yeah. I just had that conversation with the game audio guys yesterday.
Right.
You know, they're recording sounds from scratch. Like I was saying, I was out there with like a hammer hitting rocks to get mining sounds.
Get that.
And it's a good learning process. But at a certain point, you're just like, do I really need to like go out in my yard and hit things, or can I just download a rock sound? You know what I mean?
As your neighbors are questioning your sanity.
Yeah.
What's that guy doing? Is he hitting rocks?
Netflix or something?
Just making sure they're solid.
Yep.
I just watched Ancient Aliens. There's like
I'm just entirely. I just want to make sure I still understand reality.
According to the guy from Ancient Aliens, there's an invasive species that's inhabiting the rocks. Just making sure I'm not being overrun.
Yep. So that's that one. There's been a bunch, but those are two.
What's your favorite one
that I've done?
Yeah, that you've done, that you personally, besides prevent Mexicans from going.
That one was, but I had such a little.
I enjoyed it.
I like it because it's probably the most advanced game I've worked on so far. But I only had a small hand in it. You know what? You said I didn't have to worry about it.
Fucking
You
musicians.
fucking liar. Fucking liar.
No, I've increased its ability, so you're not up to it. But you still have to. You still have. I mean, you can tell. You can still hear me.
I can't run to Wawa and just keep talking.
No. Unless you have a walkie-talkie. We have a phone.
But yeah, that one was really cool. I really liked my Flying Phonics game because it was just a actual expression.
I like your portable mouse here. I don't know.
No, yeah. Actually, I'm not hooked
You're
up
wireless,
to your
I mean.
Wi-Fi. Or am I hooked up to Wi-Fi?
Yeah, you
I am
are.
hooked up to
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. I could show you that one too.
Are you gonna go into a room?
What do you mean?
Show me a chat room or something. Where are you going to?
Oh, I'm just showing you the game that I led. The one about like hitting letters or whatever.
Oh yeah, okay, phonics.
Right.
Flying phonics. You flying phonics.
Right? You like that? That wasn't my idea, actually. That was the club leader's idea.
Flying
With the
phonics.
PHP.
Yeah, the PHP. I get the joke. I get the inside joke.
So you're hearing like
what the phonics?
What the phonics is going on? So what the PHUK is going on?
It's very elementary.
Yep. So you're hearing the sound of the letter, and you just click it. You know, it's meant for 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
But you see how like the correct answers are glowing.
Okay.
You can turn off that.
Yeah.
And then I like doing the custom levels thing.
Okay.
So if I want to do just the big letter names, just the small letter names, big and small letter names, and then like certain consonants, a lot of these kids they'll keep fucking up A and E.
What's the poop?
The poop. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's a cupcake.
Oh, okay.
It does look that way because this is over top of it.
Right.
But like a lot of the kids, they'll mess up the same thing over and over again.
Okay.
So like A and E, right? If I hit that A and E button, it'll create a level of just
A and E.
Right.
So, you got a little net there.
Yeah.
So you're changing it up too.
Right. You know, it's nothing earth-shattering.
You're a retarded kid.
But it keeps track of your progress.
Right.
And
it's very inventive. It's very good. It's creative.
Hopefully over time they'll get a little better.
Yeah.
And then you can just make a bunch of simple ones like that. And then, you know, kids will sit around for 20 minutes just practicing their letters because they actually want to instead of feeling like they're being forced to sit in a room with a workbook or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we've done 2 hours.
Sounds good.
We'll wrap it up 15 minutes. Whatever you want to wrap up on. You want to show me your favorite? Or do you want to end on anything else or
No, I mean it's a good stopping point for me.
No, we're up 15 minutes and 15 minutes.
No, I mean, but I don't even know. I'm trying to think.
You want to do a song?
The game, not particularly. I was just thinking if that just happened to come
if a
up.
Jamboree popped up.
Yeah, it's just one of those.
We didn't even talk about your band days.
We could do that for 15 minutes.
That's gonna take more than 15 minutes.
I know it's gonna take more than 15.
You come back on and we'll do the band thing.
Yeah, the band thing. It was a big part of my life, honestly.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We could do that.
Yeah.
Next time you come on, we'll do your band thing.
I'm trying to think of
the situations and people have been renamed to protect the innocent.
This one was actually good. I forgot about this.
Yeah, we'll end on something. What your show me a chat room. Let me.
You mean for the game?
Yeah, like a game or chat room. How did you
developing the game?
Yeah, developing the game. How did you find the chat room?
So I told you I came across like a tutorial last year.
Right.
It was code your own game, codeyourfirstgame.com.
Right.
And when you get done the tutorial, the guy invites you to check out the club.
Okay.
And so when you get into this club, you're in the chat rooms and all.
All right, it's very Facebook.
Yeah. So you can see there's
MC Funky Pants. I already like that guy.
Yeah. So you've just got all these channels of different things that you can be talking about. Like, you know, you need help for something. Go to the Ask for Help channel. You're this is the leader telling us that
What's it called? Game keto?
Yeah.
Gam keto.
Gam keto.
Gam
Game
Gam keto game.
GAM.
Keto. Yeah, it's Gam keto. Game keto.
This is the guy letting us know there's a meeting today.
Okay.
This is just general chat.
All right.
Here's a channel for listening to music while you're coding or
What?
developing.
Really?
Yep. We just share music to listen to.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
you guys get in depth.
Channel for like, hey, I'm working on this thing.
Critique?
Critique it for me.
Okay.
This game was called Exit Shadow, and so people here were talking specifically about that game.
About that game.
Right.
So you can add your own little chat room. I guess add a channel.
Well, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't. It probably wouldn't let me.
Why is it asking you to?
Well, it's just like a general feature there.
Okay.
Or maybe that's add a channel. Like if I were to add another game channel, like if I were working on a specific game and wanted to add it. And then here's like private messaging the people in the group. So that's what the basic chat thing is. And then we'll have like a Zoom meeting every week.
A what?
It's like video conference.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you probably haven't seen this stuff. Like if I go to the actual website, gameketo.com, and I log in.
Okay, so you got to be
a member to go.
You got to be a member. So they got to
showing you. Like here we have what's called a Trello, and a Trello is like a bulletin board.
Right.
Website. So if I want to work on this game, Nick of Time, he's got a whole bulletin board task schedule set up.
Oh, so if you want to work on that game to try to code it
or contribute in any way,
add
some music,
add music or something,
add some art, add some code,
right,
or just talk about it. Like you can see, like in this week, he needs X, Y, and Z done. So then you click on the card, see, get some more details about what.
And you submit it, and he. Depending on whether he likes it or not, I guess.
Well, part of the policy is that as long as you've done it, it'll get used somehow.
Okay.
So maybe it won't, like, let's say you do something and it didn't quite fit exactly what he had in mind.
Right.
He'll just use it somewhere else. So everybody feels like if you do something, it's going to be part of the game.
All right.
You're going to get some positive reinforcement.
This is great, this little thing. This is good for practice, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the main benefit of the club. It's just a bunch of guys working together.
Bug fixes.
To, to do any of this stuff by
I guess
yourself,
that's the game right there.
Yeah, that would be a picture of in-game.
Any way you could play it?
I don't have it, and it would take a while to download.
Oh, you'd have to download and all that shit.
Yeah, I haven't worked on this game. I've been prototyping my own game.
Oh, yeah. What's your next game you're working on?
The next game would be... I'm thinking of calling it Frightening Phonics.
Frightening. Okay, so this is going to be the
Phonics.
This is going to be the same thing for.
Yeah, but this one is more like you're a kid in a neighborhood, like a 3D game.
Okay.
And you're walking around, or you've been playing
3D,
as in like you're walking around in actual 3D space, whereas the Flying Phonics game was 2D, like paper.
Okay.
Paper on top of paper.
Right. Okay.
Instead of like walking in reality.
Yeah. Right.
So you're a kid and you've been playing in the neighborhood all day.
Okay.
And your letters are scattered all over the neighborhood.
Right.
And so your mom and dad at dinner are like, you need to go pick up your letters around the neighborhood.
Okay.
So you go out after dinner and it's like early evening.
Right.
And you hear the sound of the letter and you have to like go find it.
So like a scavenger hunt.
Right. But the frightening part comes in where after you get like 2 or 3 letters, it starts to get darker because it's getting later.
Okay.
And then the letters started turning into like scary things, and, like, scary sounds. You know what I mean? Just to make it a little bit more fun.
Yeah. Right.
So and one of the reasons to do it that way is it will help me practice a lot of the sound design stuff I've been working on.
Okay. Now you do this. Did you do the sounds on that?
Which on Frightening or Flying Phonics?
Yeah, fucking Phonics.
Yeah, I did most of it. I didn't do the voiceovers. That was like a little girl from another club member
that did it for you.
Yeah,
that's nice. That's cute. That's cool. Yeah. All right.
And but I did most of the.
Oh, the kid.
stuff.
Yeah,
Good job.
Good job. Yeah.
Yay.
Good job. Yay.
But yeah, for the frightening one, it'll help me transition from like this type of background music to that type of background music, or if this is going on in the game, then it should be a scary sound,
some eerie sound,
right? As opposed to just like basic, here are like a handful of sounds and they just kind of happen,
right? So okay, so it's more 3D. It's more. I'm assuming this is for a little bit older. Maybe
it would be
maybe 8, 9.
It would be.
You don't want to scare the crap out of kids.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. The idea this time is to focus more on a more polished type thing, as opposed to this is my first game and I'm just gonna do it and however it comes out, it comes out.
It was very impressive, man. I would not even gotten past the first thing.
Well,
like opening the laptop.
It's fun when you're on a roll.
So you've been doing it for a year. How long did it take you before you got like really comfortable and actually doing the shit?
I'm not even comfortable.
Well, I mean, learning just the basics, like the fundamental basics.
That took me about 2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months of very focused, like I'm only going to do a small subsection of software development.
That's what I mean. Yeah. You went from like thinking about something to actually manifesting it in reality.
Well, what was it like? It was more like
that's your own. That's your own. That's not that you're not copying from something else.
Oh yeah, about 3 months of I got to learn how to do anything, and then going back and saying, well, now I'm going to do my own thing with it. Yeah, maybe 3-4 months, something like that.
That's pretty impressive, man. I mean, 5 years you'd be able to do EA Sports.
Dude, no, I don't know. The whole software world, it's insanity. I was talking to a guy about it when I first started, and he was like, yeah, I've been doing this for like 15 years, and he does it professionally, like full time.
Right.
And I said, I just feel like every day I do something, I feel like I'm learning something that I should have learned like 6 months ago. And he's like, yeah, I've been doing this for 15 years and I still feel that way.
Yeah.
It's like, I just bought a book on how to do this whole other thing.
Right.
And like part of his job is just sitting around reading that book.
Right.
Just to figure out how to get it to do anything.
I got a confession. I did code.
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah.
I was 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I got a... Was I 12 years old? Maybe 10, 12 years old. I got a Commodore 64.
Oh, yeah.
It was all DOS. There's no such thing as...
I had one.
No such thing as Windows.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book, it came with a book to show you how to code.
Oh, right.
Not show you how to code, but tell you how to, get something basic. And there was a type this in, and a little yellow ball would go across the screen. I typed it in. Nothing happened.
Yep.
I threw the book away.
Yep.
I was like, this is useless. This is worthless.
And this is like one of the recurring questions that I have now on a daily basis. When you're doing it and you're that young, you only have like 2 very basic options at that point, right?
Yeah.
It's either you typed it in wrong,
or
the fucking book was wrong, right? Yeah. When you've been doing it
I gave up right away.
When you've been doing it for a while, like this third question starts to come up, like, was there something about the context that I didn't quite understand?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, after a while, you just like, okay, I forgot a semicolon here or whatever.
Right.
I'll figure it out. But if you don't actually understand something yet, you're just like, I have no idea. Like, why isn't this working? It just happened. It just happened 2 days ago. I've been prototyping this frightening phonics thing, and I did like the most basic of basic things.
Right.
And I uploaded it to the internet to make sure it worked, and it was just like garbage. It's like you couldn't see anything, and the sound was just like. I was like, motherfucker! Like I haven't not learned anything in a whole year. So then I retried it yesterday, but I rebuilt it step by step. And so instead of doing like 5 steps at once and then seeing if it worked, I did the first step. Does that work? Yes. Second step. Does that work? Yes. Third step. Does that work? Yes. Wait, what? Fourth step. Does that work? Yes. Fifth. I basically redid what I did the day before.
Right.
and somehow now it magically works.
So
and I'm just like, God
Yeah.
fucking damn. Like,
That's
it's a
the-
relief.
yeah.
But at the same time,
That's
it's
like the
most
password. You
frustrating
type your
thing.
password in, and it tells you, keep telling you it's wrong.
And then the 5th time you do it, it's right.
Or you
And
redo
you're
the
like, what?
or you go to redo your password, and you type in the password you thought you had,
Mhm.
and it tells you you can't use an old password.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I threw the book out,
Mhm.
and I went straight to Castle Wolfenstein.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, I'm not done. It's too
Yeah.
much work.
Yep. It can be that way. So,
All right, man. It's great having you on again, man. I
Thanks
was
for
looking forward to
having
having you back on.
mhm.
We did we wanted to do the gaming thing. I want to get to the band stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you show me the flowers that were nice, but I want the fucking
You
meat.
want the meat.
I want the meat.
You want the blood
I want the
and
meat,
the guts,
the
and the
blood,
gore.
the guts.
There are some definite blood and guts in there, depending on how deep we go in there.
That's what I'm saying. All right, well, thanks for coming on, man.
You want to see all my skeletons, bitch?
That's the names and places have been changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah.
You want to end on anything? Or...
Nah, I'm good.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
No, thank you.
Later. Bye.